No, I was warm.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if I get cold. Start getting annoyed with me and
Okay, if everybody would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to
the
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. We had unfortunately another member of our community pass away a few weeks ago. Sandy Ray lived up there on Westbury Road near Root Road. Sadness. Okay, has everybody had a chance to check bills over?
questions. First, I noticed that the Monroe one, bill was prepaid,
Yeah,
and I was just wondering why that was,
I
prepaid.
don't know what that check. Well, it was one because of the contract that we have with Monroe. And we have to abide by the contract that we have with them. So that check, I don't know if we just cut that or if there was one that had, I thought it was sitting around and Lee may have corrected me on that. I don't remember. It was due in February. As per the contract, it should have been paid in February and we were chastised, not just us, but just about every board did authorize it, yes. So
That check went out. The date they gave was April 16th. Although the letter I just received, and I forwarded it copy to you, I believe, or today, yes. This Saturday, what they're planning on, we talked about that at our workshop. I'm planning on sending a letter to the town or to the county legislative team about, based on that letter, to find out if there's any validity to that letter.
Assuming this is an annual fee, is there any chance that we could get that forwarded?
The whole contract, it was a 1-year contract, so the whole contract's going to go to me.
Or the 14 you go to?
Well, they've been serving the towns that they were already serving. They didn't have any complicated. Solution. I saw, council and. But that's one of those terms already. Without my. So. They are.
Something else?
Yeah, the other thing is that I saw that we have, and I emailed you a couple of times, when I saw that we got the new printers, and then also, in regards to the contract, there is a, one of the bills is for a contract with, Toshiba, but we have not, the town board has not voted on or reviewed any contracts for Toshiba.
You guys did receive copies of the contract with Toshiba, and Brooke Pontillo was here and discussed it with us. We also, when we did our budget for 2023, we budgeted for a contract of which we budgeted 2,000 over what we will be paying Toshiba for this year. So there was discussion about it, and the budget was approved for that amount.
I did not say that there was not discussion about it, because I do know that there was discussion about it. Where my question is that, did you email out the contract that was agreed to? Or there was no, I know that she came out and spoke with us, and I know that my perspective was that we had not settled. We had a couple of different ideas of what might be best for the town. And then we never came back to it or discussed it again. It was just left and then came in, and there's new printers, and, we now have a bill. I'm not saying that it's not something that I may say, oh yeah, that's good, but that's not the proper way to do it.
Well, in talking about what was going on with those, like your idea was to eliminate a couple of printers and put a printer in here. And this would not be the opportune place for it, because if, like, Wednesday nights, Shelley's doing business in there, she runs off copies, we'd have a printer going off in here. That was one of your suggestions that you had had.
So we're not discussing right now the validity of the comments that were made or discussed. We are talking about the procurement, and the signing of or potential signing of a contract that was not reviewed by the town board. And I'm okay if you
did have the contract. You did review the contract.
hard copy contract?
You received electronic copies of it. She presented copies of it right here. You should have it in one of those nice glossy folders.
I didn't, I keep everything. I didn't get a glossy.
That's what she had brought in. I've got mine sitting in my office in there.
Does anyone else remember receiving glossy folders or a contract that we, a review of a contract, any other town board member.
I know when we were reviewing it, I was making changes. You know, something to be better about.
We as a town board did not vote on a contract. We did not, because the precedence that sets is that, and even if it was something that we all agreed upon, the precedence that it sets is that you can sign contracts without having the board review and approve contracts. And so the idea is that we are a board and we may, like, yeah, my idea of having the printer in here may not have been the best for the town. And we could have come to a consensus and said, okay, this is gonna be the best path moving forward and move forward with it. But to move forward without having, and I don't have, if you can show me that we have the contract or that it was actually distributed for our review of what the final contract would be. But I don't have it, and I have sent emails, multiples of them, in regards to the printer over the last month, not even just within the last couple of days. And I have not received any response from you.
So, like, you see these lights in here? In our budget, we budgeted to have these canisters replaced with LED units put in. That was in our budget too. So now, what you're saying is that the electrician, as well as the materials from like ID booths, we're gonna have to come back to the table and talk about it, even though we budgeted for it.
Did you have
It's
a,
the same
did you,
idea.
it
It's
is not,
materials
did you
put together.
did you sign a contract?
I did sign a contract
With-
with Toshiba.
No, I'm asking with, you're comparing the light and the electrical, did you
I'm
sign a
comparing of
contract
how we
with-
handled it. Budget process.
Bridget, I will defer to you. So the budget process, there is leeway there, there is not. We don't necessarily have two estimates at that point in time. We don't necessarily have, the followings of our procurement policy. 1,000 to,
You did have estimates from Toshiba prior to approving the budget.
did we have,
That's
we
how
had,
the budget was set up, and it was 2,000.
so,
The cost for Toshiba, which was approximately the same cost as with Eastern, who still hasn't replied to any of my long phone calls or emails
so.
about our equipment and billing.
So we have, in our procurement policy, two, depending on the amounts, from $1,000 to $10,000, we're supposed to have, written or verbal quotes for each of those, which that's one thing. The signing of a contract, and Bridget, you maybe can speak to this. Any contract on behalf of the town is supposed to go through the town board prior to being signed. And I will, what we got from her when we were sitting here, we got papers that had everything listed out. And there was, amount and values to it, but it wasn't a contract as far as like, what is the, what's going to be for problems, technical difficulties, what's gonna be the cost for, additional services, what is their response time gonna be, like nothing of the, a traditional contract that goes through the agreement between the two entities. We did have those sheets with the estimates of costs and the different types of printers and what we have now and how many pages we were printing. That was laid out, and I would consider that an estimate for, you know, a good estimate for sure. But my understanding and what I remember from going to the municipalities training, municipal officer training, was that all contracts before being signed were to be reviewed by the board. And that's, you know, our procurement policy doesn't talk about the contract signing. It talks about, you know, getting estimates.
I think what Carrie's getting to is, it's not just necessarily it's a Sheba contract, just. Something's presented. Try to do it, and then we have to go through it. That would be the big thing, just to be able to ask happening.
Yeah, and I think when, you know, it's facts specific.
John, can you share with us what printers were purchased and, or if they're leased, if we're, you know, what the final, because you did decide, and I know the printers are physically here. And we never got, you know, any information as to what was decided on. Are they purchased? Are they leased?
Well, so. Okay, I mean, they're already here, it's sort of a moot point. This, and we had discussed it, this would help a lot, if we physically had something in front of us, and what we get, but.
Also, like, this can't keep happening. I understand it may, like, that may have been the precedence that was in the past, but moving forward, we need to, you know, even if we're all in agreement, have a copy in our email that we can say, oh, yep, this is what was, yep, we're all in agreement, it's good to go, and we've got our documentation with it.
Anything else, Carrie?
Those were my concerns. I would vote to accept the bills minus those two. I'm not going to agree to the two.
Toshiba and,
There was two one was contractual and one was a,
oh. Oh, and to answer your question before, what ones we did lease? 4 new printers. The one large one that is in the conference room, that one kept breaking down. It was a headache. We couldn't get them to come on out here and repair it half the time. So that one got replaced. Dale's printer that was acting up in his office, his was replaced. And then the one in my office and the one in Maureen's office. 2 are scanners. All we got in my office was just a printer. That's all it is. It's not a copier, scanner, or anything. Just a plain old, very simple printer. Maureen's does scan as well. So we got 3 scanners, only one large one. So they scan and they copy. Yours copies, right? Okay. So basically, Maureen's and Dale's are 4-in-1. This one in here is multi-purposes. It's far super better. I know Maureen's very much in love with that new printer she's got. But they're all leased.
And so what,
Service contract is for all our other printers that we have, the ones, because we own those outright. So we have a service contract for the ones that we own, as well as it covers the ones that are leased as well.
and what's going to be, so like the total for the year is going to be underneath what we budgeted
Mhm.
and, what, so each month we're gonna get the,
You're gonna get a monthly bill.
and then, how long is the contract for, how many years?
So we can tell you right off the top of my head, and I don't want to give you on that.
So we won't be getting that Eastern.
Eastern.
Where we won't get that anymore?
Well, that's one of the problems I'm having right now. I sent them a notification to end the contract. I sent it to our contact person here locally. I sent it to their main office. I contacted Xerox. I've sat on the phone one time just 10 minutes, the other time 35 minutes, the other time for an hour. And then I left a voice message after that hour. I have emailed everybody. I have gotten no response from any of them. I have told them that we will not pay anything beyond March 2nd of this year. I gave them, on March 2nd, I gave them all the final numbers on all those machines. Said that we would be willing to pay up to those numbers that we collected on March 2nd. Nothing beyond that.
So that would be the bill today, would that be March 2nd one, or is that?
What amount is that? That is based on, Xerox and Easter.
That's Easter eggs. Zero.
So
Xerox generally like about $6, $8, something like that. And that was for that big machine that was broken down half the time. But that should have been, oh, that was on overage charges, that's what Lee told me. Overage charges in previous. So right now, I told her we're not paying anything. Not until I get somebody to finally contact me from Eastern and or Xerox.
So. And not feeling because of lack of service and.
Lack of service, they were supposed to be monitoring all of our printers. Apples. They never were. We had to, they're supposed to be monitoring how many copies were made, black and white. Black and colored. And, they weren't doing it. Maureen and Lee had to go around every month and collect the numbers off every machine, and then Lee had to input them on the computer to them. So when they were supposed to be monitoring it and what our levels were on our cartridges and everything, they weren't doing anything for us. Nothing.
Do we have a legal stance to not pay them because of lack of service?
Last contract that we signed with Eastern was Mark Chamberlain in 2017, just before I came on board in 2018.
Okay, so one month.
It's a yearly, it was a yearly contract. I haven't signed a single contract.
So no pay, so.
So, wait, but right now we have it in our vouchers to pay, so that would.
But
need to
this
be-
one's an overage from the month previous.
It's $159 is our contract, our monthly contract base rate charge for 11/27/22 to 12/26/22 billing period, $159. And then contract overcharge for the 10/27/2022 to 11/26/2022 over a period of $3.58. And this is, the due date on this says, maybe am I looking at the wrong one? I'm sorry, I might be looking at the wrong. Yeah, that was my apologies.
Where are they getting back to? We only had a 1-year contract, 8 years ago or whatever it was. I would not pay that well.
That,
If you have the leverage saying,
I did everything. I told them we do not need your services anymore as of March 2nd. I gave them the end numbers, you know, the last copies that were made on each one of those for both colored as well as black and white, so they had the accurate numbers and everything else. We're willing to pay up to that final number. That's what I told them, but nothing.
Yeah,
They have not contacted.
this isn't right either. I found this is the correct one, that the voucher information that we put on here. But it's $159. But the invoice date is June 28th. And the due date was July 28th, 2022, and she has that written as a contract based rate. But she has activity date and the voucher for 12/23. I can show, I have it pulled up if you wanna look at it. It's just,
Oh,
it's very, oh, thank you, Lee, yeah. Okay. They sent. Okay. But yeah, so then. Okay, all right, that's, I just wanted to, it's like, wait a minute.
It has been just kind of a monthly bill, I'm going back to last year, and every month it's been like 159, 160.
that's no problem.
Right,
If it was a bill from back when
and they,
we were doing service.
So this will be the last week.
in what,
June to July, yeah.
Can we get that all taken care of?
So are we going to pay this?
Pay
bill?
that bill. That's she said it was a bill that was on oversight. Are we all set then?
It's the contract. You said.
Oh, it was Toshiba, yes.
Hard copy.
I'm still thinking Xerox.
What was the total amount of the contract over 3-5 years, whatever? How many times?
Like Dave pointed out, when I send it out, you'll get it. I'm not gonna give you numbers. I don't have them. in front.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of a big amount to just without the board approval.
Okay, so. Do I hear a motion on the bills? Do I hear a second? Margaret. You hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay, minutes. Everybody have a chance to look the minutes over? Oh, and I didn't run off a copy of, from that hearing. I didn't run a copy of that hearing off. Everybody got a copy of the,
Yeah, it was sent.
yeah. I did not run a copy off of it. I didn't look at that. Any questions on the minutes, anybody? That's the minutes for the regular meeting as well as the minutes from the hearing that we had. Anything?
Move that we pass the minutes from the our last meeting and the public hearing.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, old business. Hemlock Ridge Solar. We haven't gotten too far with that yet. We have a meeting coming up this Friday afternoon, where hopefully we'll finally have the pilot resolved. We'll see what happens at that time. Yes. So hopefully be able to report back on how things work out at our next board meeting insofar as Hemlock Ridge Solar is concerned. Baird Solar, they've been in there cutting trees since they cut the trees down before the bat population starts to reproduce. Nothing has been happening down there yet, but we're supposed to start up down there pretty soon, start construction. So that's where we're at with the Baird Solar project. Heritage Wind, Carrie?
So Heritage Wind on Good Friday submitted the response to ORES's second request for additional information. That is on the DPS site. And I'm not sure if we have a link on the website to that. I think we do. But that is on the website so that people can review, and then ORES will either say more information is needed or have additional questions, or the modified major modifications would then be deemed complete by ORES, and then there would be the next steps.
As a town, we're kind of getting left out of these major changes in that. And I was wondering if it'd be a good idea, or if it just isn't gonna happen, if we invited ORES and Heritage to have a public hearing to answer questions from the public, if they could better to this. And the other thing that came out of the survey, which we have our host agreement, we know now how much, taxes we're gonna be saving in that. One of the things in the survey that I sent out, a comment, which I have to agree with, the comment was, I can't answer if I'm in favor of this or not at this point, because I don't know what I'm getting. So once you have that, please ask me then. So, now that we know that, maybe we should do another survey But I think we probably all put some collective answer first, and these major changes, and then
I don't know about half, but I'm sure the applicant would come and, give an overview of the amendments, for the public if we ask them to.
I think that, I think that that would be a good idea. I don't think that it would hurt anything to do that. And that is something, do we want to set a date for that? Because once the, modifications are deemed complete, that starts the 1 year time clock again, for the next steps in the process. So if we wanna set a date and see if they would be able to come now, so that then
Set a- or reach out, ask if they are available, or see if they have dates.
Don't know about the main meeting, because we have to have that public hearing as well. But you have to have that time span in there, and then our own business as well.
could we do for the, our town board, meeting? So like say the first,
That's our workshop
So,
time.
so I was gonna say, if we did the public,
I think it'd be best if, like you said, give them a range, maybe the following week.
I was going to say, because the other thing is that our workshops we have right beforehand. But we also haven't been able to get the agendas. So maybe if we move back, and have this in May, have the workshop, maybe on Monday or the week prior, on Wednesday, the week prior, and then did the public hearing right before, or not the public hearing, I'm sorry, but the informational meeting. Before the May at like 6 PM before that. Or we could maybe look at the week before the May 3rd at 7 PM for the, and leave our workshop on at 6.
Tell you the truth, I just as soon have our workshop the week before from now on, like we used to have. This 50 minutes prior to a board meeting is really crammed and trying to, we just don't have time to discuss or work on anything. Workshop, because of just having 50 minutes, and then I gotta shut that down and get this all started up so we can record for a town board meeting. And look at today, we ran over a little bit. Yep.
Unclear.
Can it be both, or first 2 weeks?
But is that?
The third and the
that-
10th.
Either the third or that eighth, or whatever, what are the 2 dates? Third or the 10th.
And ORES, I know they probably won't come.
I know for.
Yeah, or as-
Because they're not going to answer questions.
Okay,
They will.
can we still, just so that we can show that we as a town, because this is something, and I think that this just in the bigger scheme of things,
Okay.
that when you're a municipality that is hosting a project, makes a formal request for the state to come, and they deny that request or ignore that request or whatever, at least it's like, look, we tried to get you to come. And, that's, and I know they're busy and there's a lot of projects going on, but, I think that, we at least can say, hey, we asked.
Yeah, looks like so.
I can make. Or ask, would you, knowing that the objection is going to be.
If they wanna zoom in, or I will work with Joe or whatever, we can get them up on there.
Okay.
I don't think, I think it could be if we publicize this, I think we maybe
even if we end up out there, we could figure out how to get, with the technology we have now, how to get a phone and a microphone.
Yeah, I mean,
Connect it
it's
up.
just not enough time for, this first state procurement to get permission to get. I can ask, but the answer will be no, but I don't think it's fair. But at the same time, I can say this because it's are going to be competitive with the application. fees. So here's my first.
So could we possibly, put the request out there, say, we have this date, these dates that we're looking at possibly with the applicant. If you aren't able to attend at this time, if there is another date that you would be willing to, answer questions from the community, something along those lines.
Unlike.
Right,
Granted, but
I hear that
ask.
and recognize that that's the reality, but
Yeah. Alright. Noted.
so we need to have a formal motion for this, right? Okay, you're just
It's just a agenda.
a request for the applicant to,
And who's, you know. Well, I mean, can make.
Well, it'll be, I mean, if it comes up, we're actually gonna have a public hearing, do we have to have a motion?
it's not a public hearing.
would
it's
not be.
information.
Information.
It wouldn't be a hearing at all, it would just be an information
Information.
session. And you're offering the space, it doesn't necessarily be. Unless you want to, I mean, I'm sure you publicize.
But the town could facilitate
Yes.
the discussion.
Absolutely.
So we would be facilitating with the applicant there, the answering of questions, allowing the public to ask questions, making sure that we've got.
Happy to. I can't imagine. what they would say. I don't. Or as I would be surprised if they said yes.
Who was it? There was one time, was it Mysula or?
No, ORES was here for the, solar, for the Hemlock Ridge,
That was good.
that was for Hemlock Ridge. Yep.
Anything else having to do with Heritage Wind?
I think that was. And, we would have that at 7 p.m. I don't think that's a good time.
Oh, it depends on the date.
Oh, right. So the 10th would be at 6 and the 3rd would be at 7.
And you really think that? Never mind.
And if they can't come on the 3rd, like put the 3rd out there as the best, option, and then if they can't and they say the 10th, then we can.
Can
Say that we're gonna adjust the word.
Can I? Say it would be 6. Meeting starts at 7. Have a barn full of citizens with a lot of questions. Do we leave?
I think that, my thought is that we allow the information session to end and then we have our town board meeting afterwards.
You're gonna cut off some town people when they really are trying to find out their pertinent information.
No, she's saying go till whatever time.
Whenever
it
they're
ends,
done,
and then we start.
then we start. I'm not saying that we cut them off. I'm saying that we may have a later meeting.
based on what you get back from your inquiry, we will have an informational meeting either on the 3rd or the 10th at 6 PM, no matter which day it is. Be a lot easier that way.
For me.
Okay, anything else having to do with Heritage Day? Okay. Water District 10. You all received information, I do believe, having to do with the bids that we just had come in and were opened. The lowest bid was 1.5 million. The original project pre-COVID was 1.1 million, so it's about a little bit over $400,000 more than what it was, what the engineers had projected the cost to be in 2019. So what we're doing now is basically working backwards. We have requested that Rural Development comes up with some more cash for us in our what we get is a loan as well as a grant combination, so that we can pay for the project at the 1.5 million and be able to get this put into the ground. If everything works like we would hope, we won't have to have a public hearing on this. So people in the Water District 10 will be able to come and hear what the cost will be for their debt service that will be added onto their taxes that we pay for those of us that are in water districts already. So how much their taxes, how much it will increase their taxes with the new funding. And once again, we need to find out if we're getting the money from Rural Development and how much we're getting from Rural Development. Bridget and I have a Zoom meeting tomorrow with the engineers and Labella, who formulates a lot of this stuff, so that we can talk about next steps and everything else with Water District 10. If everything works out, and I keep preaching about it, hopefully Water District 10 will be able to go in the ground in November. If not, it'll be back in the spring. I'd like to see it going in November, because with the winter, then we find all the little areas that have to be repaired, patched up, and taken care of come springtime, and make yards look nice and pretty again. Plus, after last summer, I got a lot of phone calls from people in Water District 10 area wondering when they were going to get water because their wells were running dry. And hopefully this coming summer, we won't have as dry a one as we did last year. RTO. George from RTO was calling right at the start of our meeting there. I should have asked him just to answer the call, but that's not appropriate. Anyways, RTO has come in. They put all the equipment up on our water tower. If you happen to drive by, you'll see the antennas, the dishes up there on the water tower for the system. They're also supposed to be putting up antennas on the tower on Hemlock Ridge there on Ronnie Carr's property. So I don't know. I haven't driven by there. I don't know if they've got the dishes up there at this time. I think when they're done with our water tower, they're going to move on over into Clarendon and work in Clarendon. Don't know. Hopefully, in the next 2 months, they will be getting the service up and operating in the next couple of months. So then they'll have people, they're doing it up in the northwest part of the county. They've got a couple of towers are up and they got the service operating. I believe it's the northwest corner. And they've been out knocking on doors saying, okay, here you go. If you're interested, this is what it's going to cost you. You have to get the little box put on the outside of your house. And you have a monthly fee and et cetera, et cetera. And I guess there's been a number of people that have signed up for it already up there. So anyways, I don't know where they are at. I don't have a specific date when the whole county would be online. Okay. New business. We're supposed to have a public hearing prior to this board meeting on the charter franchise, but we didn't get into the paper on time. So as a result, I'm looking at us having a March 10th public hearing. May 10th, I'm sorry. May 10th, 7 PM, having a public hearing on the charter franchise. So we can get that signed. Our contract with charter runs out in May. So we need to get a new one signed up. We've all seen copies of that. And with the exception of a little bit of verbiage in one of the paragraphs in there that Bridget talked their attorney into changing, it's golden. So,
Which is good as it gets, right?
yeah,
The only question I had was, asked if the workshop. Said it was you. With this being from 10 years ago or whatever, is there an increase in?
You don't.
It's just a 5% of the gross.
Oh,
Right.
so it's,
this
So
is
it's the-
states. Cause we gotta check through this
Yeah,
state
it's,
dictates.
we don't have to-
I did get them to the was actually restoration. purpose, So that we had to say on. The franchise fee is. You get more money by getting more bills.
We get, and yeah, here's the notice of tentative telecommunications ceiling. It comes from the State of New York Department of Taxation and Finance, Office of Real Property Tax Services for the town of Berry, MCI Communications. We get $65,481, Verizon, $238,023. IntelliFiber Networks, $418,877. And that's all dictated by the state. If they do not have on here about charter, but I'm sure that that is also dictated by the state. And they even have it broken down for school district. Okay, so may I have a motion for us to have a public hearing on May 10th at 7 PM pertaining to the charter franchise? Margaret made the motion.
How's that going to? They decide they want to do the information.
I don't know, but I gotta get this has gotta get taken care of and signed, because our contract runs out in May.
Can we just put out the third for, because we didn't do a motion. So let's just say if they're available on the third. If they are not available on the third, what if we went to the week after?
Okay, I'll ask about the third.
Hopefully the third will work, and if they can't, then we'll look at the 17th.
Okay, going back to the motion then, 7 PM. Really doubt anybody's gonna show up for this.
I second. I'll second. How about you got the other?
Yeah.
Margaret made the motion, George second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, panic buttons in light of the environment that we have lately. You have seen contracts for Green Button as well as for Amherst Alarm. Amherst Alarm, we already have a security contract with. So other than purchasing the buttons, of which we're talking 7 of them for the town. After that, the monitoring, it's all part of the security system we already have with Amherst Alarms. So it won't cost us anything after the initial cost of material. Do I hear a motion then to accept them?
Move that
Go
we
ahead.
accept the input around to install these buttons. I'd also like to see if we use ARPA funds.
Yeah.
So I'll second the motion.
The warranty on the buttons.
Motion to go with Amherst Aluminum if their buttons are warranty.
And
Reasonable fashion.
In a reasonable. I don't think you need to put the ARPA. I don't see why we can't use our funds. Forget the ARPA. We can use those. Yes. I'm sorry? No, they're all Wi-Fi. Excuse me. So they can be placed anywhere. No, I was waiting for you to get done. You ready? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay. Next business item. Here. Okay. Next item, we talked about this on 2 different occasions at least. It is a resolution requesting an increase in the sales tax revenue from the county legislature. Whereas pursuant to the Orleans County Treasurer records in 1996, the Orleans County Legislature distributed 14% or $1,366,671 of the total sales tax revenue collected to the towns and villages in Orleans County. And whereas said dollar amounts have remained the same for town and village revenues from sales tax revenue collected, and whereas there is no revenue increase to the towns and villages since then, even though the sales tax revenue collected by the county has increased more than 40%. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Berry does hereby request consideration from the Orleans County Legislature to share 14% of the total sales tax revenue collected with the towns and villages each year, here and after, to be utilized in the best way to benefit said communities according to its governing bodies. Motion for the adoption of this resolution. Someone like to make that motion? And the second will be Margaret. Okay, individual call. Dave Waters, how do you vote? Margaret Swan, how do you vote? Kerry Richardson, how do you vote? George McKenna, how do you vote? And I vote yes. Everybody, it was unanimous. Okay, and as I said, what we will do with these, all the towns, we're gonna put all our resolutions together and we are going to submit them as a total package to the county legislature. And I know a lot of people saw in the hub where Lynn Johnson's saying, you know, we don't know about where the money would be coming from at this time because the state hasn't passed its budget. Well, by the time we get around either in May or June of handing in these resolutions as a package, hopefully the state budget will be passed and the county will know exactly what funds they are getting. So that's what we're shooting for right now. And this is just a solidarity of all the different municipalities all going to the county saying, please give us our fair share. Okay, that's it for new business. Okay, my financials, year-to-date, town has spent $164,032.87 compared to the annual budget. Therefore, we have spent 28.22% of the annual budget to date. Highway has spent $230,255.53, or in other words, 17.2% of their budget at this time. That's through the end of March. Dale just handed us his report at the start of the meeting. Anything you want to add here, Dale? You've got everything now for your system, the tablet, state, all that stuff. Have you? Excellent.
Any update on the bridge?
Any idea when they might?
I expect they're going to do.
Maybe there was something else I wanted to ask you. Anthony.
Well.
Go ahead.
What plantings do you want to put in the very top side? What's the?
Yes. Yeah. We want something that's not gonna overgrow like the big bushes we had in front here and down there. So you can see the sign. But, was the signs, oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. Any rough idea when the new signs might be going up, new town signs?
Could be some, we got this week with yard hauling.
Yep. Okay. Once they're up, then I know like BBC will probably be out there trying to get their plants all put in.
Probably too late there, but. You know, storm that came up that we have was. Either probably. And stuff. I know we're not outside the jurisdiction of what we paying, you know, is there any way we could, because we work with all, maybe we could. Pass that and completely stop work with them. Okay. And Shelby doesn't. No, they have their own.
Green's report, I received her report. I also received the judge's report. Here's the one that she always passes down the line for everybody to take a look at. The assessor's report, she's getting ready to send out data mailers to all residential residents. They will verify their inventory that the next assessment will be based on. She's registered to take the farm appraisal class in August, which is her final class that she has to take for her 100% certification as an assessor. So she's all registered to take that in August. She's next going to be mailing out change of assessment notices for those that have sold or finished building permits. Sold or finished building permits, if assessments changed. And her and Shelley have met to take a look at, because there's a lot of information that Stephanie needs from Shelley. So the two of them got to work a little bit closer together. And so they met and discussed a few factors on that. According to this, there's only one house on the market. Total assessed value is $105,000. Total listing price $395,000. Now, I'm sorry? Yes. Yep. Now, I do know she hasn't gotten that yet, but I know there's at least one house who just sold up there on 31A by Mathis Road up there. So, but that was old owner to new owner, did not go through real estate or anything, but I'm sure she'll be getting the information on that one in the very near future. Code enforcement, like I said, Shelley has met with Stephanie. I have met with Shelley as well on a number of different things and trying to get things a little bit more streamlined. You got her report there about some of the building permits that she has received to date. That last one she has there, her computer must have taken the -9 and read it as being September, being the 9th month. Because she does that sequential number, the year and then the sequential number. So that 23-September should really be 23-9. One of the things that I had talked to her about was, how do we know these permits have closed out? So she's going to be checking that out as well, as far as permits that have been closed out. When did they close out? We get notified when new permits come up. When are they closed out? Or are there extensions to those permits? Okay, Carrie, anything on housing and so on, zombie homes?
No, no update there. I know that Kelly there's just some banks involved.
Okay. Margaret, planning board. Okay, that's the 18th, 6:30. Zoning, Carrie.
It, um,
Sorry, you gotta speak up a
There,
little.
sorry, the public hearing was posted and the preview video.
Yes. This coming Monday. So you got zoning Monday night, and you have planning board Tuesday night, this coming week. Dave, Park,
Talked to Jason today. Says he's working on a master plan. What his thoughts are on that. Didn't see a lot going on in the near future, maybe Thailand staying down in that, power back, and then he said he's basically up to him to, he says he gotta get on his dream of life. And get a plan on how.
has anything been decided when they're next, I mean, we're getting into that time of the year.
I asked him. If he wants to meet Wednesday. He told me,
Oh, did he? Okay,
anytime we can start it tomorrow.
okay.
Some time.
I've been told that there's an opportunity where we can get softball teams back in there too. So it'd be fantastic, you know, we get the youth back in there again, like we used to have. Okay. George, utilities. Margaret, I'm gonna jump over to you on BBC. Anything from them?
There's a meeting coming up. Third of May. Yeah, that's what I have.
How are they doing with their, or how did they do with their Easter egg hunt? It's awfully quiet. Something about that. I saw them out and about in yards.
See too many, but
I got delegated, I cut out all the little bunnies. Okay, Bridget. Anything from you?
They want to take up this year. But just to kind of get your feel for it. One is. And then the other one that I want to address is I think that, and this is impacting them immediately, but I think it's like process of the operations of the. Task planning board is questionnaire. That you are considering updating your comprehensive plan. But to bring in outside consultants. Am I not on?
No.
Wow, no one's
I
ever
can,
said that
I can, I
before.
can see Kirk back there going.
Oh, sorry. If you are gonna update the solar law, I think, you know, and if you may, and you are also considering updating your comprehensive plan, it may be worth bringing in outside to assist with the comprehensive plan process instead of. That's a very big ask for the plan to undertake by themselves. Even, it's a lot, so it's just something that I wanted to raise that issue.
Got a question for you on that.
Sure.
We bring in an outside concern to assist us with this. What is the possibility of you, because that's gonna cost us,
Mhm.
ARPA funds. This is for the community.
I think that that's,
Thank you.
and I was thinking that during our discussion, so sorry for not.
I thought that I had brought that up repeatedly in the past and was told that we could put it.
When they first presented the ARPA funds, we could not, but they
They-
have slat,
They brought in
Recommended.
yes.
and what you could use it for, yeah, but I think that that's, you know, in terms of using your funds for something that has a lasting impact on the community. You know, we've already seen that the town is changing and will continue to change. It's a big ask to ask the planning board to do that by themselves.
Excellent.
That's all. So I have nothing pressing for any of you. I just wanted to bring those issues back up to the radar.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else, anybody? Do I hear a motion then? Okay, Dave makes a motion. In the meeting. Second, George seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everyone. Happy spring, enjoy that weather, especially come Friday.
It's windy out there.
Friday is supposed to be hitting, well. Yeah, Monroe County be higher. We're supposed to get close to 80 here.
It's
That'd be nice. Okay, there, George. Let me get this shut down first. Okay, stop recording. I'm streaming. Everybody, please turn your mics off. Come on.